Welcome, Sojourners, to the Women's Leadership Mindset Series. My name is Teresa Page. I am your host and looking forward to spending these next few moments with all of you. We have a lot of work to get done on today, but first, allow me to invite you to connect with me by subscribing to my website and YouTube channel. Connect and follow me on LinkedIn, and always feel free to contact me directly via email at teresakpagellc@outlook.com. So what is our goal? Well, as an author, speaker, coach, and mentor, my mission is to help professional women renew their leadership mindset with fresh fire and purpose through the mediums of leadership development and coaching services. However, the Women's Leadership Mindset Series is a new initiative intended to spotlight powerful women leaders and how they serve the world through their professions and purpose. So with the goal to help women realize their unfulfilled dreams and re-energize the leaders they always were, this platform is designed to enhance, empower, educate, equalize, and even emancipate as our special guests share their entrepreneurial stories, provide valuable resources, and guidance in a caring, professional, and impactful manner. So, let's get down to business. Hi there, leaders. As I move around and even still discovering how to move around in this entrepreneurial journey, I understand wholeheartedly that the work that I produce, as far as with my writing and my conference, some of my blogs, or anything else that I create, some of the things in my gift collection, it's all faith inspired. I am faith-based in nature. I consider myself a faith professional as I navigate in this space, so that I am able to speak from my actual career experiences and be able to marry some of the things that I believe from a core value perspective, leaning in on faith principles. And so I think that's one of the special things, what makes the new edition of my new book, My Journey to Wholeness, Love the Success Factor, the new edition, so special, because it allows me to fully express what I truly believe about love and leadership, where it does marry what I have learned over the years in my career, in different career spaces, and also what I have learned as a woman of faith. And being able to marry those things together, and to dash in some of my personal experiences, personal stories, and be able to bind all these things, even with scientific fact, in regards to love and leadership and how we're built for leadership, and that the human family is made from love. I like teetering that line because the reality is that in our culture, we don't believe that there is a through line for our social culture, faith, as well as science, even business, that there is no way to connect all of these areas, that somehow each one of these disciplines are in their own silo. But I beg to differ. There is a through line where all of these areas meet: our culture, our faith, science, and our business, professionalism. All of these things, there is a through line. It's a fine line, but there is a line where all of these areas agree. And that's what I find so wonderful about this particular work. And I hope as readers experience this literary work, that they will be able to see a connection. And I trust that I did a good job on that. uh, but, today I wanted to do another reading from the new edition of My Journey to Wholeness, Love the Success Factor. I want to read from chapter 3 today. And chapter 3 is probably my most favorite chapter out of the entire book, because it is the foundation of my work, of why I do what I do, while I write what I write. The last 10, 15 years of my life has been this development about love and leadership, and what I've had to learn about love from a personal perspective, from a faith-based perspective, from a leadership perspective, to have gone through all of these things, to learn all of these lessons in real time, not in just study and research, but actually to live it in real time, in real life circumstances for the past 15 years, to be developed this way. It has definitely been the most consequential experiences of, of my life. And you'll probably see a lot of that in chapter 1. Um, in chapter 1, if when you get a chance to read this book, what my purpose development looked like and how it was able to touch me personally, professionally, faith-wise, and all those things. If you just didn't know by now, and you're just not aware, or you're just coming up to figure out who I am, just in the social media space, I am passionate about employing love as that ultimate success factor to renew women's leadership mindset with fresh fire and purpose. And yes, I believe, just based on my experiences, that love is a game changer that provides us with a competitive edge. And it doesn't matter if you're in business or if you have an organization. And it's not even about having competitors, but it does give us an advantage. It gives us an edge wherever we serve in the marketplace, whether from a business perspective, a nonprofit perspective, or a corporate perspective, sole proprietorship, so on and so forth, faith-based organizations, government sector, education. It doesn't matter. Love is that game changer that gives us a competitive edge, so that we are powerful in leadership, that we're fully present for our teams and our stakeholders, that we're knowledgeable in whatever industry that we are to serve in, our domain of industry, that we are knowledgeable of our industry trends, that we're innovative in producing goods and services with high consumer value, regardless of who our consumer may be, and that love is benevolent in our philanthropy or even in our community service efforts. That's what I believe that love is. I believe that love is, it is that driver. It is what sits on us to allow us to be, to live every day, to succeed every day, to push forward every day, to maintain, to build our wherewithal. And so, chapter 3 is titled Love in Dominion, the Mandate of Global Leadership. You see, ladies and gentlemen, you will find in my book that I believe that God is love. That is what I grew up on as a little girl, and that is what I have come to wholehearted to believe, even in my adolescent and adult life. having that personal relationship with the Lord, or choosing to have a relationship with the Lord, understanding that He is all those things, that He is all powerful, all present, all knowledgeable, all creative, all benevolent. And what I honestly and truly believe, that everything that God can do, love can do. That's why I believe that it's beautiful for every situation, that we can implement love, that love is the answer. It is the innovative solution, the most dominant superpower available to the human family, that is more than just an emotion. Love is a superpower. It has a sense of enablement. It has a genius factor, that we're able to create a solution to all of our problems, not just some. I mean that all. That is not by hyperbole. The question is, do we know how to use love? Can we become skillful in applying love? That we can actually use love as a skill set, as a function, as a competency, as a leadership ability? Can we learn how to transpose love out of that emotional space and actually put love in action, to put love to work, regardless of what our political affiliations are, our religious affiliations are, so on and so forth? Can we figure that out? Love is not contingent on all of these things. Whatever you rep, whatever circle you run in, whatever you network, love is not. It is not attached to any of those things. It's not contingent upon any of those things. My thing is, if we can muddle through what we feel like we rep or that we are affiliated with, and get down to the common denominator, to love and of the human spirit, what things we can do on earth and beyond and beyond. I'm still learning all of the functions of love, but what I've learned thus far, and hopefully wherever I have the opportunity to communicate or to speak to anyone, even if it's just to speak in this void here, that I'm able to communicate bits and pieces along the way. But this new edition of my book, along with the workbook, it is at least my attempt to share what I've learned thus far. And there's countless more lessons that are yet to be learned. But this is what I know already, what I've experienced, what I've already lived concerning love. And so, like I said, love and dominion is really the crux, it's the center. It's kind of like chapter 3. So it is the center and the weight of this book. It's my favorite. It is my favorite. So I'm going to read just a little bit of it, and I'm going to get out the way. Uh, but I just want to share just a little bit of this particular chapter. So again, I ask, listen with your heart, not with just your ears, but listen both with your heart, your mind, and your spirit, to catch just a little bit of this. But if you could get a hold of this book and buy it and really sit in it and digest it and let it reveal something special to you, what's specific to you in your life, I do think that it will help turn some lights on. But anyway, chapter 3, Love and Dominion, the mandate of global leadership. I'm going to start with the subject with the section titled, I Am Only Human. We have all heard the phrase, I am only human, and it's typically an automatic disclaimer to justify our shortcomings and our failures. The statement may be fair, but statements like this only dilutes humanity's divine power, allowing us to take comfort in our failings and to give us permission to tap out of the game. But not so. We have not taken into account that our failings are an instructional mechanism that teaches us how to analyze, to correct, to foster determination, overcome exasperation, discover assets, reveal traps, develop contingencies, enhance fortitude, eliminate inequities, and to create inventions, all in an effort to become great. It would be wonderful if we could learn how to lean into our mistakes to experience the journey of course correction instead of hiding behind them in an effort to bypass our responsibilities in the earth. I get that leaning into our failures as a tool for elevation is not something that comes naturally, considering mankind has been measured and held hostage by how good or how evil we are for centuries. But I submit to you that the human family was not designed to be good or bad, neither were we intended to have knowledge of it. I submit to you that the human family was created for the singular sole purpose of dominion. Let's take a few minutes to discover how and why. Made in God's image. In my journey of love, I wanted to understand what the original intent for mankind was and to know what it means to be an heir of God and joint heir with Christ. So I started hanging out in the book of Genesis, chapters 1 through 3. For years, I kept reading the same black and white words over and over as if I expected the story to change. Though the physical words on the page did not change, the eyes of my understanding continued to be enlightened. In Genesis chapter 1, we watch the Lord speak our visible world into existence. In each command, he utilized the word let, which means to give permission to. The word let has the preceding authorization that empowered the firmament, waters, earth, and heavens to bring forth the expansion, fish, fowl, beasts, creeping things, or planetary bodies in abundance. However, what is utterly amazing is that the Lord placed the same command of let on himself to give him the permission and license to make mankind just like him. Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 28 reveals, And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. Many of us have read, or at least heard of these verses on more than one occasion. The words of the text are not hyperbole, yet the idea that we are made in the exact likeness and after the model of a god and king still eludes us somehow. I get that the notion heavily conflicts with our thoughts and our systems of learning. I get that we get tangled up in the eternal scientific debates of if there is a God or designer, or if we are a product of creation or evolution. I get that we actively live in a time wherein unhealthy body images and body shaming has crippled our esteem to the point of self-hatred, self-harm, and alteration of what was already perfectly made. Alluded or not, the weight of God's love towards mankind is manifested through his intellectual intention to make us after his model, to operate with his level of authority in the earth. Eluded or not, it cannot be refuted just how spectacular the human being is. We are given authority over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, the beast of the field, every creeping thing, and over all the earth. Therefore, it is right to conclude that we are designed to operate equally and effectively upon the land, air, and water to meet such demands. Our conundrum is that we are like iPhones with tons of apps, settings, and functions, and we do not have enough knowledge of how we work or what we are capable of. So, for the next few moments, let us discuss how the human family is engineered for dominion, have the intelligence of dominion, and possess the 5 degrees of leadership to manifest dominion in the earth. So I believe I will pause there. This is what I truly feel about the human family. Yeah, I get it. I get it. We're looking at some of our current experiences, and we're looking at the hatred and the division and some of the cruelty that we inflict on ourselves and on one another and on groups of people based upon how they look or don't look. I get it. Our racisms, our genderisms, our classisms, and every other ism have created these lines to keep us separate or to keep us in a position where we don't trust one another. I believe that these things can only truly exist is either we don't know who we are or we have forgotten about who we are. And because we can't perceive our greatness, then sometimes it's easier to yield to our very base of natures that we wasn't even really made for. I'm not even sure where we got certain things from, to be honest, to be completely honest. I believe in a misguided way. What we as the human family are really looking for, are really fighting for, and have fought for through the ages, really is the recovery of our God given assignment of dominion. Though we have poorly articulated our angst through a host of all of these isms, our loss of dominion, or at least being blinded from the dominion that we're supposed to operate in the world, it has been the object of our human struggle. Ladies and gentlemen, our desire to rule, our desire to reign, our desire to be successful, our desire to be wealthy, These things are written in the very code of our DNA. Somewhere along the line, we have been told that we shouldn't desire these things, but it's not so. These things have been written in the very code of our DNA by the finger of an almighty God. We were made to have rule. We were made to create worlds with our words. We were made to command the elements, to demonstrate supernatural wonder in the universe. We were made for that. As Bugs Bunny may have said, I must have took a left turn at Albuquerque. That's, I believe, what has happened to us is that where we took the left turn was that our desire to reign and to rule has led us in the horrible offense of trying to rule over another human being. And we were never designed nor commanded to have such authority. And yet, that seems to be everywhere we look. All of the angst in the world is is this foolishness where one individual seeks to have rule or to impose their ideas and their will and their opinions over another, or a group supposedly to impose upon the will over another group, or a nation to impose their will over another nation. That is where we mess up. That is where leadership and rulership goes awry and becomes a rogue endeavor. But you know what? We have the ability, we have the technology, we have the wherewithal, we have the innovation to shut down what separates us right here in the 21st century. These things can be halted right here in our lifetime. It doesn't have to wash over our children and the future generations. I believe that if we would decide to shut them out of all forms of hatred and oppression and its doctrines, and if we decided to activate love's true force within the earthly realm, then we could afford to respect more and fear less. We can afford to discover more and destroy less. We can afford to educate more and imprison less. And we can afford to feed more and bury less. So, leaders, I want to say thank you so much for listening to my heart on today. I truly hope that you're able to glean some value, and I hope that you will find what you'll find remaining in chapter 3 is more of a breakdown about how we're engineered physically to understand that our senses, that our bodies and our senses are designed specifically for leadership, for dominion. Different aspects. So you'll see a little bit more what that looks like, where you'll see some uh, scientific information about the human body, how we are, how we need to take care of our bodies, so as well as our intellect, how diverse our intellect is, as well as how to give our intellect a gift of sweetness so that we're always positioned to devise solutions for whatever challenges we may meet. You'll also find here in this particular chapter how to keep your mind together, how to keep your intellect together. You'll see a few tips, things listed here, and you will also lean in heavily into the assignment of dominion and what that looks like, all of the 5 degrees of dominion, what they mean, and why we need to give room to our leadership ability, and also give ourselves room to make a diligent search of our personal dominion and leadership. And you'll see some suggestions in regards to self-assessments to learn more about your leadership DNA and how our influence um, is supposed to support the different sectors of our culture, from business all the way up to religion. So you'll see some of that here in chapter 3 and a chapter wrap up. And one of my favorite things is talking about transformational leadership. So you'll see that in a follow-up section of the book that's called Between the Lines, Transformational Leadership, the Second Adam Dominion Blueprint. And that's one of my favorite areas. So chapter 3, as well as the follow-up Between the Lines, these are probably my favorite parts of the book that really breaks down love and dominion. And so I trust that it will be of a great point of reference for you. Not only is it providing some high level information, but it's also providing practical resources, practical guidance on how to learn more about how we are engineered and possess the intellect and possess the 5 degrees of leadership so that we can manifest dominion here in the earth. So, listen, I think the book is awesome. If you really want to take a deeper dive with me so that we could really walk across the pages um, of this work, I would love for you to join me for Love the Success Factor Women's Leadership Conference. And listen, even though this is built for women, I believe our brothers will be able to glean from this as well for their own personal leadership development. So I want you to check out the bio, because this conference really is a demonstration of how God's love empowers women to lead, to create, and to generate wealth in the fullness of our equality, our purpose, and our business. So please check the bio for scheduled dates, as well as information on how to be able to plan a private event for either your family, your friends, or your organization, whether it's professional, nonprofit, or faith-based organization. And so you'll see the information on how to be able to do all of those things. So I would just leave you all as we are heading into the weekend ahead and also looking towards 2026. Leaders, let us remember who we are. If there was ever a time that our greatness is needed as ambassadors of love and dominion, our world needs it now. It's time for all of us to step up. Leadership is not just for some. The idea and the thought of it is erroneous. All of us were built for a particular domain of leadership. We all have our assigned domain, and if we can individually take care of our personal assigned domain, once we are all fully activated, we will be able to affect real change. So thank you for listening to my heart on today. As always, here's to the journey. and let's move forward.